What it do, snackers and snackettes? It's your boy Gage. This is a sort of live interview with VCC, Virtual Comic Con.
VCC,
my man. And we are here right now chatting with the one and only Bryan K. Turner. What's up, B?
What's going on, fellas?
How are you, man?
I'm as good as I can be in this COVID-19 situation.
Yeah, things are a little bit different, huh, man?
It's a lot different, but it's all good. We're enjoying the difference.
That's right, yeah. Man. Like, you know, I appreciate you taking the time to do this with us all the way from the West Coast.
Sure. That's
definitely a thing. If we were doing this at a con, I probably wouldn't get to see you. So this is kind of dope.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're right.
So let's talk a little bit about who you are, B. You know, you've been in the business, working professionally for quite some time now. Why don't you give folks a little bit of a rundown on what your background is like?
All right. Well, so like these two fine gentlemen here, I am from the Washington, D.C. area, DMV. I would say about 12 years ago, I broke into comics. I did some comics professionally. After doing something for myself, a lot of creator-owned IPs with a couple of my studio mates from Identity Comics Studios. But then from there, after about 10 years, I decided I wanted to get back into animation because that's what I went to school for. So I started making the trek out to the West Coast, doing shows out here, showing my stuff and meeting people. And I met Andy Soriano, who is the lead designer on things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Clone Wars shorts, all the dope stuff. And I was doing a cover for Samurai Jack at the time. And so I met him, and he was like, "Oh man, your cover is like one of my favorite covers." He was like, "Come talk to me." So I sat down and talked to him for like 2 hours, and he was like, "Oh man, what are you doing? You working in the industry?" And I was like, "Well, that's what I'm out here for." Right. And so he legit right there gave me contacts to people in the industry. I did my part and reached out to them, and within, I don't know, a couple months, I was working on Ultimate Spider-Man. And haven't really looked back since.
My man. All right, so let's kind of run down the list. Ultimate Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, the newer Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, the older DC superhero girls, Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. One of the latest things I worked on was the Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. That's gonna be on Netflix. And then just this week, I started back at Warner Brothers, and I'm working on the newer iteration of DC superhero girls.
That's crazy, bruh. So bounce around a little bit. So Warner Brothers, Nickelodeon, Warner Brothers.
I would call Warner Brothers my home. So when I worked on Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, a lot of the leadership from there, they moved over to Warner Brothers. So that's how I got my work on Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. So those people are like family to me.
Sure.
And Warner Brothers, I've been with for the longest now. So after this run, it'll be going on like 4 years. So
yeah, that's crazy, man. Listen, I know that you know, that transition into Warner Brothers originally, you know, pulled you away from the DMV, but that also meant pulling you away from your family from a time. But now everybody's home and they're with you. You know, look, man, for people who are, you know, watching this or are kind of in that struggle, if they're in school now or they're looking for work or whatever, talk a little bit about, you know, just kind of the work and dedication, you know, that comes with something like that, like kind of leaving your family where they are literally on the opposite side of the country to chase that dream and do that work.
Yeah, so that was my path, and what I try to tell young people is, hopefully yours isn't that hard. You know, that was mine. My parents, my mother went to school for a year. My father didn't go to college. My sister did graduate 2-year college. But I was the first one to come out with like a 4-year degree, but I still didn't know what I was doing, you know, because it was new to all of us.
Right.
So when I try to talk to young people, I just try to tell them, if you're going to school for something particular like art or performing arts, anything, just work your hardest and try to apply yourself thinking forward. What am I going to do in 2 years? What am I going to do when I graduate? Am I going to try to get a job from here? These are the things that I never really had a conversation about when I was, you know, I applied for college.
Yeah.
After I graduated high school.
Right.
Right? And got
Right.
accepted it and all that stuff within like 2 weeks. So I don't wish that on anyone. So I just say, like, just try to be prepared. Make a plan for yourself. Be organized. And just don't stop. So there are going to be people that say, and this happened to me. That's cool, you do art on the side, you're talented, but what do you do for real? You know, I got tired of hearing that. Like, that's one of the reasons why I transitioned into animation. Comics was fantastic, obviously. It grew a huge fan base, and I love it. But y'all know about Bryan. Like, comics is a grind. And with a family of 6, it was work, and we made it work, but I just knew there was more, so learning more about animation and how well you're paid and compensated for your art, it was just a no-brainer to try to transition into that. So again, it's taking the proper steps, putting in your work. A lot of people want to say, oh, how'd you get in? Did you just know somebody? Of course, at the end of the day, you do have to know someone.
Network. It's important.
Yeah, but what it means is, when you know that person, it's that right time when they're like, oh man, I remember seeing that guy at this show. I remember he did a portfolio review here. I remember he reached out to me. He helped me with this. You know what? We have a time where we've got a slot we need to fill quick. Let's call that guy. Yeah. Not just, oh, I know this guy, let me put him on. Sometimes it works like that. I mean, usually if you've had a long relationship with someone. But like, if you're trying to break in, you really gotta work hard. And y'all know about it. You gotta be everywhere.
Yeah. I will say that I tell people all the time that your network is really only as good as what the people in your network think of you.
Yeah.
And so what you're talking about is having that, people being able to think back in their network of you and the work that you did or the work that you do, and say, I like how he works, I like his work ethic is, I like how he reached out, he turns stuff in on time, right? Like, that's a big thing.
Oh yeah.
Just being able to hit deadlines.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of transition. Like, the kind of work that you've done in art is as much as being an art teacher, as well as working at like a Six Flags doing caricatures, having that, like, and being in a position to kind of work for yourself and do those kinds of things, but also still wanting to kind of push your own stuff, right? And so that for a long time was what the grind was, right? Was kind of like, we're trying to get our stuff that we know is good and is cool out there in front of people, right?
But nobody knows who we are.
Right. They don't know you yet. So, man, listen. So, one, that's awesome. I'm glad that you've been able to kind of go, even in transition from one company to another. Again, having that network and being able to do, one thing to the other. Do you have, I don't know, man, like a project or something that, not necessarily that you're most proud of, but that was your favorite? Not necessarily in what you've done, but just like, I guess, in the time working on it?
Oh, yeah. So, definitely the Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah.
The fact that I got to work on Turtles is, that was a dream come true. Like, when I got the job and I told Melissa and the kids, like, Melissa cried for me because she knows. She knew how much that meant, and it was short. I mean, that's how the industry goes. Like, when you do your work and they're done, you just kind of move on to something else. So, but the work we put into that, I mean, it's some good stuff. So I really feel good about that. Yeah.
Do you know when that's coming out?
I don't know. Gosh, I would say 21.
Okay.
At some point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're like, we just finished, but design has to catch up.
Right.
And like, so much has to happen. It's got to get animated. I'm sure at this point only about 2 to 5 minutes have been animated out of a 90-minute movie.
Right. So again, I guess what we didn't say in this is that specifically what you're doing, you work on storyboards.
I do storyboards, yeah.
Right. So How different would you say storyboarding is from working in frames and comics?
It's a lot of the same.
Okay.
And they're each as difficult in their own art form. So,
Sure.
working in comics, you have a script. I would say, in my experience, in comics, the writer has a little bit more of a grip on what's going on in the
Okay.
story, meaning that there's such a short time frame. We had to do books like, for instance, for Fanboys vs Zombies with Boom Studios. Some of our turnaround was 2 weeks for a whole book.
Wow.
So you didn't really have time to tell your story. You were just digesting the script and regurgitating the art to match it.
Right.
So there is that. So there's action. You got to accomplish that in 6 panels in 1 page.
Yeah.
Storyboarding. I mean, if I get 10 pages of script, you're looking at 11 minutes of animation, where you get to stretch it out and play around. You literally, as a storyboard artist, you are a director.
Right.
So you are telling the story visually. Then you meet with your directors to see if that's meeting their vision, and if it is, then you move forward. So I would say those are the major differences. If you could tell a story, you could do either one, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there other things in animation you would like to do or want to get into?
Not too much, because I'm a pencil mileage guy. Like, people think I'm crazy, but I love doing boards. Like, it's not for everybody. I mean, you're talking about thousands and thousands of drawings. Thousands.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's not for everyone. But I like it. I get a kick out of it. Like, I can recall, and I say this to everybody, when I was super young, and I knew I wanted to get into animation, because of course I love like Saturday morning cartoons,
Right.
Before school, after school cartoons. I just always wanted to see my drawings move.
Sure.
So the fact that I get to do that, I mean, I guess the next step would be actually to animate, but I play around with that myself.
Yeah.
I think aside from storyboards, I've dabbled in a bit of character design, which has been really fun. I did a couple of development pitches with Nickelodeon and stuff like that, and obviously
you got
do it for
some Transformers.
Yeah. So product design, I've had a good run on. I've done some Transformer stuff, even stuff that I haven't shared yet, like some real Transformers.
Okay.
Did some Ghostbuster stuff.
Hey.
Okay.
For the new one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's a lot of fun. Like, when that stuff comes around and they're like, "Hey, are you available?" I'm like, I don't care if I'm not available.
I'll make myself available.
Yeah. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm available." Yeah. So all that stuff's been fun. I think the only other thing I'd want to get into is, aside from directing and then obviously having my own show, is 3D modeling. Because I'd like to see my characters
in that third dimension.
Yeah. Without having to, just shoot them out to somebody who's obviously talented enough to do it for me. I'd like to learn how to do it myself. So.
That's what's up. What's up, man. I dig that. Okay, so look, we already running a little longer than I was intending to. I don't want to keep you too much longer. But that's not on you. That's kind of on me. But I do want to talk about whatever else you got going on. So I know you got Keith and Jane.
Yeah.
Collectibles. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, Keith and Jane Collectibles. That is a collaborative effort with me and my wife, Melissa. She's really the spearhead on it. So she thinks of ideas. Sometimes has me refine them, but a lot of times she's coming up with most of this stuff herself. So we do just fun collectibles, like decals. She does wonderful t-shirt designs where she handcrafts herself with her cry cut setup and all that stuff. So that's a fun little thing. Going good for a while. We shut it down right now because it's just hard to get the materials that we need, like shirts
right now
and stuff
it's
like
crazy
that.
trying to get the ink and all that kind of stuff.
It just doesn't. So we're just taking a hiatus on that right now, but we'll be up and running again. So there's that. I also have my TeePublic shop where you can get some of my designs on the shirts, which is something that we can't necessarily do with our Keith and Jane, because again, that's handcrafted. That's more like very particular. This stuff is literally taken, because I remember back in the day when I had my Black Panther print, you were like, dude, that needs to be on the shirt.
I need that on the shirt.
So that kind of stuff happens now. So yeah. So with that, so simultaneously with VCC, we got WonderCon going on online. So that's supposed to be happening this weekend as well. But they open it up. If you go on their site, you can find all the vendors you want. But for me specifically, you can just go to bturnerart.com and click on shop, where I got prints, art books. It's got a link to my the t-shirt shop, all kinds of stuff. And most of it right now is like 30% off. So
okay, you're running a decent sale right now. All right, so you're pretty active on Instagram. How do people find you? Follow you there? Facebook, so forth. How do people find you? Are you doing commissions or anything like that?
Yeah, that's all on. If you go to the shop on bturnerart.com, that's all listed on there. You can click and sign up. Just send a request, or you can DM me. So my Instagram and Twitter is bturner_art, and then my Facebook is Bryan K. Turner. And yeah, those are probably, I would say Instagram is probably the best way to reach me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I did see that you decided to participate in this 6-character.
Oh man, this thing is, dude. So what's gonna have to happen is I'm gonna have to do like 4 different variations of the 6 characters. Seriously. So and I got one great idea from your mom. I'm gonna turn it to a whole thing. So yeah. She did it. I was like, yeah, you're right. So yeah, it's gonna be about 4 different iterations. So give me a little bit of time. This week, this weekend I'm gonna try to get one of them done, like a whole 6 set.
Yeah.
But I am gonna do a whole series of it. I'm gonna do like I'm not gonna tell you what the first one is, but I'm gonna do one that's just based on cartoons, one that is anime and games, and one that's movie and TV. So I got so many people had like 500 different ideas, so and they were all great. I was like, oh yeah, that'll be tight. Oh yeah, that's tight. So I want to try to make as many people happy as I can.
I saw it and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm not even gonna put anything, because I know whatever happens,
somebody's gonna say it.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm not even gonna put anything. I'm just gonna let it be, and then you know, when I'll just see what the work is when the work gets done. That's for sure.
For sure.
All right, B. Listen, man, I really do appreciate you taking the time to do this with us. Look, all you guys out there in virtual Comic-Con land, make sure you guys go follow Bryan, you know, across all the socials, because it's important. If you see something then you should like it, and if you like it, maybe share it. Just make sure you always give credit, because that's the best thing to do.
Please do.
For sure. Anything else you want to say to anybody before we get out of here, B?
Just everybody out there, especially you guys, because you guys are dear to me, your families, everybody. Just praying that everybody stays well and safe. All the fans out there, please adhere to these social guidelines of staying apart. It's so serious. I had a scare with my dad a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Luckily, everything turned out great. Another brother of mine, Kenny, his mother went through the same thing, and so I reached out. So this stuff is real. I know we're all heroes out here. Some of us walk and like, not me. It's not about you. It's not about individuals. It's about everybody else.
Everybody else.
So it's real. Let's just keep doing what we're doing, because we get to do this kind of fun stuff, right?
That's right.
That we normally wouldn't have taken the time to do. So
that's right.
Let's enjoy this moment for what it is right now, and then when we're past all this thing, we'll see each other in real life.
No doubt. No doubt.
Normal.
Yeah.
No doubt, man. I appreciate it.
And I gotta get you out here on the left coast, man.
Hey, listen, man. We can do that. We can do that. We can't do it now.
No.
But yeah,
it'd be cheap. It'd be real cheap. I'll tell you that much.
Well, that's true. There's no doubt about that. I definitely have to make a trip. Come see you guys. That's for sure. I'll do that.
And a little nugget. I am coming back. I forget the name of the show. Forgive me. But there is a show that's scheduled in Silver Spring in September.
Oh,
okay.
They're flying me out there. This is a 1-day thing. So I'll outside of this, I'll let you know about that. So if that's still happening, I'll be home for that. So.
Okay. Sounds good, man. You know, if you come home, we linking up. I don't, you know, we'll figure it out. I'll call out of work or something. I don't know. Whatever. All right. Thanks, B. With that, we're out. Toodles and loos.
What it do, snackers and snackettes? Did you like what you just saw? Would you like to help us grow? Here's what you can do. Shoot over to patreon.com/loading snacks, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on your favorite platform of choice. Appreciate you.